Hi guys, today we're going to start Unit 6, which is on exponents and exponent rules. Let's talk about exponents. Exponents are shortcuts for multiplying the base times itself. So the B is the base and the E is the exponent. Instead of writing, here's where I am, instead of writing x times x times x times x times x 5 times, the shortcut is x to the fifth power, where the 5 in the exponent means that x is being multiplied times itself 5 times in a row. So for instance, if we want to expand x to the eighth, we would have to write x times 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 x 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the long way of writing x to the eighth. Nobody wants to do that. So whenever you see y times 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 y, that would be y to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth power. That would be y to the ninth power. That's the short way of writing y times itself 9 times. We would say y is the base, and we would say 9 is the exponent. And the next one, it says rewrite in exponent form. So we have x times x times x. That's x times itself 3 times, so that would be x to the third power. Then we have times y times y. We have 2 y's, so that would be y to the second power. Also, we would say y cubed x squared. When you cube something, that means you take it times itself 3 times. When you square something, you take it times itself 2 times. Okay, so here we always do them in order alphabetically. So there aren't any other A's, so that would just be A, which is actually A to the first power. And then we have 2 B's, so that would be times B squared. And then we have 4 C's, so that would be C to the fourth power. And just like that, that's it. It's actually pretty easy. So those are called just using your exponents when you're multiplying. Now here, these are product of powers. So when multiplying, here's where I am, when multiplying the same base, and that's very important, the base has to be the same. You know what I mean when I say the base? That's the base, that's the exponent. We add the exponents. So here's an example. We have x to the fifth times x to the third. Well, think about what x to the fifth means. It means x times x times x times x times x, 5 of them, right? And think about what x to the third means. It means x times x times x, and we're multiplying. So really we have 8 of them. That would give us x to the eighth power. So the shortcut is to add the powers. So keep the base. Add the powers. 5 plus 3, of course, is x to the eighth power. So down here, our first example in the box, we have y to the fourth times y to the sixth. That's y to the 4 plus 6 power, or just y to the 10th power. And that's our answer, y to the 10th. And the next one, so this one's just a little more complicated. The A's are not beside each other, but that's really A to the third times A to the first, because that's a 1. And that would give us A to the 3 plus 1, or A to the fourth power. Then we're going to do our B's. We're multiplying. All of this is being multiplied. That's B to the second times B to the fifth. So that would be times B to the, we would add the powers, 2 plus 5. So that would give us B to the seventh. So we would get A to the fourth, z to the 7th. So long story short, you're just going to add your powers when you multiply. You keep the same base, you add your powers. Here in the next example, the third example over, we've thrown in a whole number. Now, whole numbers you just do like you normally would do them. You're just multiplying. Parentheses mean to multiply. So we're just multiplying. We're going to multiply 3 times -2, just like we always would. 3 times a -2, now that would give us a -6. And then we're going to multiply our x's together. I have an x to the third times an x to the first. That would give me, remember you add your powers, because x, what we really have here is x times x times x times another x. So that would be x to the fourth power. And then our y's, we got a y to the fourth, a y to the fourth times a y to the second, y to the second. And so that's really y times y times y times y. Wait a minute, sorry, I lost track. Y times y times y times y, 4 of them, times 2 more, y times y. So you would have y to the 6th power. You keep the base, add the powers. Here we have a z to the first times a z to the 7th. Z to the first power, because when there is no number up there, it's a 1, because you got 1. If it's there, you got 1. So z to the first times z to the 7th, that would be a z to the 8th. Keep the base, add the powers. Keep the base, add the powers. So I'll erase all that so you could see it a bit better. So here's what we did. We did 3 times -2, gave us the -6. We did x to the third times x to the first, that gave us x to the fourth. We did a y to the fourth times a y to the second, that gave us y to the sixth. And z to the first times z to the seventh, that gave us z to the eighth. And done. So we're multiplying. On our next one, we have a 7 times -3, 7 times -3. So 7 times -3 is -21. Then we're going to do this in alphabetical order. So I'm going to look for any x's. So over here I have an x to the third, but I don't have any x's in the first. So I'm just going to have x to the third. That's it. Now I'm looking for y's. Here I have a y to the first, but in the second one I don't have any y's, so that's just a y to the first. And here's a z to the second times a z to the first, and that would give me a z to the third power. And that's it. That's what we're going to do today. You're going to look for a Delta math assignment titled Exponents Day 1. Have a great day.